In this video we're going to have a go at replacing the screen on this MacBook Air, which sadly is cracked and therefore you can't see anything anymore. If you look on the back of the computer, this is an A2337 and an EMC3598, and that tells us what kind of computer it is and what colour we need for the screen. The actual screens are about £200. Now the screw sizes in here are all different sizes. These front screws here are short screws. Corner screws here are different again, they're slightly longer, and then the center screws here are longer still than the corner screws. So we've got the longest screws here, then slightly longer ones at the corner, and then short screws at the front. To undo the screws on the back of the computer, you're going to need a 1.5-5Q or 5P pentalobe screwdriver. Now these have a little star shape, but the star has 5 points on it. All those screws up, you should be able to just pry this back cover off like so. Once you've got the back off, the very first thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery, and that is just a lever here which flicks up. Oops, should flick up like that, and then this whole battery connection just comes off like so. We're going to move this plate here, or bracket here, which covers the LCD cable, and that is a T3. So to get those small screws off, we used a T3 or Torx 3 and a Torx 4. Some YouTube videos showing you how to do this say you can do everything with a Torx 4, but our experience was you needed a Torx 3 as well. Got that bracket off, this cable should just pop up like that. We're going to continue to use a T3 and remove this one screw here. This is for the Wi-Fi antenna. Just remember which way that goes. On the flat side is towards the top. Little aerials just pop up like that. Next up, we're going to take out these black screws here and here, and that's using a T4, and those hold down the LCD board. Once you've got those two screws out, this here is the LCD board. We're going to take out these 4 screws here, which are also T4. These little babies are much longer screws. It's a little tricky because you have to get this bracket up here, but usually it's glued down, so you have to kind of pry up and with a little bit of force. So this is probably the trickiest bit of the whole operation. You do need to use a little bit of force to pry this up, but you need to do it without bending it. So just be patient. Just using this little pry tool here, you can hear it just breaking away as the glue breaks. Like that. There we go. Once you've got that loose, we're going to go and use a T8 here to undo these screws. Now the T8 screwdriver set you can get from somewhere like Toolstation or Screwfix. Once you've got all of those 6 screws out, we're going to open up the laptop just more than 90 degrees, and the whole unit, the screen, should slide away. That takes a little bit of wiggling to get that off, but we've got that out. We're going to take the new screen. Now, when you first compare the screens, just bear in mind you're looking at the top of this and the bottom of this, so they look different. But if you actually flip that over, that does look the same. And we just need to take the tape off now and ascertain that it does actually come with all the brackets. Okay, and I can see that this screen doesn't come with these little metal brackets. So we're just going to take these 2 brackets off and transfer them to the new screen. These are little T3 screws. We're just very carefully going to transfer those brackets onto this screen here. After you've dropped these screws 100 times, and about half an hour later, you'll finally have got those 2 brackets up. You want to bend these hinges all the way out. Now, on a new screen, they can be extremely stiff, so I'm just using a screwdriver to give me some leverage to get them going. What you don't want to do is use a screwdriver to lever between here, otherwise you'll crack the new screen, and that would be pretty annoying. We're going to try and attach this screen, and the trick is to make sure that this does not get trapped underneath, so it sits above like that. Now you want to try and slide those hinges in. We're going to do one at a time, and we may just get a little screw in there so that that doesn't pop out again, remembering that this section here is above the laptop, not trapped underneath. Get one middle screw in there to hold this in place, and then I'm going to try and align this side here up. Okay, now we've got all of these 3 screws here, or 6 screws in. We can now go ahead and close the screen and continue to put the laptop back together. Next up, we're going to take the Wi-Fi antenna and just thread it through like so. making sure that this does not get caught underneath. Once you've threaded that in, you just need to press it down, hopefully making sure that the screw holes align. These super long screws back in and just tighten them down. Just working backwards to the screws. The next two are these little black screws which hold this down. Just tighten up these two black screws. These two little areas can just click down. Can be a little bit tricky lining those up, but you don't need a lot of force to click them down. So if you're finding you have to use too much force, just push them back a little bit to realign. A little cover here. Whoops, trying not to drop that screw. That cover there. And then it's just need to click that down. That little cover is once again held on by these little T3 screws. There are so many different screw sizes on this laptop. It's ridiculous. There's 4 screwdrivers you need for this job. And then I think we're just about ready to reattach the battery cable and put the cover back on. Let's try that. Okay, we've got everything back together, and before I put the back on, I'm just going to open the laptop up and see if the screen is now actually working. Okay, let's just see if this turns on. It may be the case that the battery is flat, or it may be that we've broken it. It transpired that the battery was flat on this laptop, and there we go. We've got a working laptop again. Woohoo! I think we can call that job done. People wanted over £500, something like £567 to fix this laptop. And we've managed to do it for about £200 plus the cost of some screwdrivers, which I'll just show you where we got those from. We got our replacement space gray screen from eBay. Just be a little bit careful when you buy it to get next day delivery. Don't buy it directly from China, otherwise it will take a week or two to get there. We paid just under £200. If you're going to attempt this job and you don't already have any of the screwdrivers, you can buy a cheap and cheerful kit for less than £10 on eBay, and that should have all the T3, T4, T8 and the P5 screwdrivers in it. If you're going to be using those screwdrivers a lot, you can get higher quality individual screwdrivers from this company here, Accu. They sell these German screwdrivers, Wedder. You can also get a set of 6 Torx screwdrivers from Screwfix, but unfortunately, only one of those screwdrivers is any good. The one you need for the hinges, which is a T8 here.